there is a space within the void between universes where all lost things can be found. There we find the lost letters.
Dear Diary, as you recall, I helped my mom clean out my grandma's attic. Aside from the heat, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. My mom didn't bring up the breakup, and mostly our conversation was pleasant. We did get a bit emotional when we found some pictures or other sentimental items. I miss Grandma. She's gone far too soon. She'll miss all the important events of my life. My graduation, maybe marriage and kids. Of course, none of these things is in the works anytime soon, but it's still something you want your grandmother to be at, you know? Something unusual happened, though. I found an old radio cabinet up there. It was really cool, pretty retro. I opened it up to find it had been emptied of its electronics, which, okay, I guess I wasn't going to use it as a radio anyway. Later, as my mom was getting lunch together, I was looking through some boxes near it when I heard this buzz and a clunk. I took a look inside the cabinet again, and this cylindrical object about the size of a football was in there. I could have sworn there was nothing in there when I looked just under an hour ago. It was freezing to the touch, like so cold it burned me when I touched it. It was super weird. I didn't think much more about it as my mom called me down for lunch. After lunch, my mom took a run of stuff over to our house, and I was back up in the attic prepping the next load we were going to take. As I was doing that, I see lights on the dial shine, static booming out of the speaker. It was terrifying because, like I said, the electronic components weren't in the cabinet. Then right after that, this weird static starts, and I hear a voice. It was my grandma's, but it was younger. She started, and then a chorus or echo or something joined her. It was a bit hard to make it out, but they were all saying something like, "What? No, not now. I have to file the report for the last attempt. Turn off the machine." I ran downstairs. It was freaky AF. About a minute later, I heard it come to life again. This time it said, "I need to go. I have to go." Go where? Why do you need to go? As I'm starting up into the attic, I about jump out of my skin as Mom yells at me, "Lizzie, I thought you were going to get all this stuff ready to go." She starts climbing up the stairs. As she rounds the corner, she sees me standing there. I tried to tell her what happened, but she just said it was impossible. The radio cabinet's been up in the attic since she was my age. She said that Auntie Marilyn gave it to Grandma years ago. Auntie Marilyn was great. I don't think I wrote about her much. She was an actress in the 80s. She was incredibly intelligent, much like Hedy Lamarr. But it was the 80s, and you know how social and gender norms are. She has such wacky ideas, like there being alternate realities where she was a scientist. But then she'd go on about how we were like out of sync with us, something about how matter is made up, but also in time and other dimensional forces. She'd go off about how, by just existing, we displace matter and energy. And just by being here, we make things different. I always liked that one. Grandma did too. Hey, maybe that was Grandma from another reality, or even several speaking through the radio. I think Mom wanted to sell it after everything today, though. But now that I'm thinking about Auntie, I don't think we should. Maybe I should keep it. It might be a way for Grandma to still be with me. I mean, it would be a little ridiculous carrying around that big radio cabinet everywhere with me. But I could maybe use it to talk to her. Maybe if I could figure out what's going on with it. Until I write again, Lizzie Steinem.
My dear Aster, that was presumptuous, wasn't it? I mean, we've only seen each other twice, and then there was that letter. I mean, you basically just wrote me off because I happen to be Irfan. I know you feel bad about it, but honestly, you're cute when you're flustered. I just have to give you a hard time because I just imagine that blushing smile, and it fills me with butterflies. Wait, maybe that's a bad admission. The Orenda may be able to actually fill me with butterflies? Speaking of which, we talked a bit about the Orenda when we met. I mean, I still have a ton of questions, but I figure you should know more about us. From what I gathered, we aren't all that different from the Orenda. Well, aside from the basic ideas that each community is centered on, where the Orenda believe that magic ultimately will be the saving force of humanity, we believe that it will be through science and technology. Though nobody asked me, I think we could learn a lot from each other. For instance, I was able to recreate that dictation spell you used using my computer's wireless connection, which is how you're getting this letter, by the way. Imagine what we could accomplish by working together. I mean, I don't know what limits there are on your magic, but being able to unlock the full scientific potential of what you can do? I'm sorry, I just have visions of traveling to other worlds, other times, and even parallel realities. All the while recording all the data that we possibly could. Wow, I'm sorry. I guess that goes to show how incredibly nerdy I am. There's this obscure novel series that was never widely published. There are some websites that, a website is a place on a digital network of computers anyway, these websites can distribute electronic copies of data. And I was able to get my hands on these novels through one of those websites. They are by this guy named Gene Roddenberry, and the series is called The United Federation of Planets. The normies, I'm sorry, that's what we call the people who aren't Irfan or Orenda. I don't know what you guys call them, but that's what we call them. We're going to make a stage show from them, but we, meaning the Irfan, stopped them as it encouraged a future where science and technology were available to everyone. I mean, the Orenda probably would not have liked that either. Sorry. Focus, Horacio. Okay, so these books inspired me, and I want that future for humanity. I want science and technology to be available for everyone. Anyway, I'm going on and on about this. So, the reason why I'm writing is that I'd love to see you again. I'm going to try to be in the market each weekend to make sure that I beat you to those lemon bars. Yours truly, Horacio.
Dear Camilla, did you see that notice on the community board months ago? I thought the Bagginses took care of all that anti-hobbit halfling rhetoric. If you didn't see that rubbish, be thankful. I saw some elvish messenger posting the new notices, and this one. Oh, this one. This one was from an orc of all beings. It was riddled with spelling and grammatical errors. It was horrid. It went on about how we filthy hobbits need to mind our own business and stay in the Shire. It went on about how hobbit culture was not welcome in Middle-earth, and how we should be happy that we have the Shire. The gall! Anyway, I ran after the messenger, which was already about halfway to Withywindle. I had to know where this came from. He said he hadn't the foggiest. He said that he just delivers and posts the notices. A likely story. So I had to ask who oversees the collection of posts. Turns out it's all the way over in Rivendell. Well then, I could not let this simply just stand. I had to find this orc and give him a piece of my mind. After 2 weeks of travel, I avoided some trolls, caught some convoys, blah blah blah, and I finally arrived. Needless to say, the messenger arrived about a week before I did. They had been expecting me. After a few hours of attempting to get past their amusement at seeing a hobbit this far from the Shire, after so long, they gave me what I came for, the location of the postwriter. Of course, all the way over in Mordor. I guess I must simply walk into Mordor. So I set off. I refilled my stores of mince and totters and eggs. Luckily, the Carothos was not snowed over this time of year. I don't see what Samwise's grumbling was all about. That journey took me less than a month, and I didn't see no spiders, eagles, or other nonsense that he was going on about. I had a difficult time navigating orcish neighborhoods. There is no rhyme or reason to them whatsoever. I kept trying to avoid them as much as possible, for when they saw me, they attempted to eat me. Finally, after days of searching, I found the address of the postwriter. I firmly knocked on the door of the home. When the orc arrived to the door, I told him in no certain terms, "You are no longer welcome in the Shire." They just stared at me, as I strongly put down my foot, turned on my heel, and returned to whence I came. The journey back was an exhilarating one. I sure told that orc I shan't be surprised to find that they will not be posting such nonsense ever again on community boards. I have succeeded. Anyway, I'm on my way back and wanted to send you this letter to check on my cat. I shall be back in a week. I am in Rivendell now, swiftly to return. Sincerely, Kelly Underhill.
The Lost Letters, Episode 3. Written by Miguel Covarrubias. The Radio Cabinet. Performed by Kathy Covarrubias. Space and Time, Letter 2, Horacio, played by Miguel Covarrubias. An Incredibly Unnecessary Journey, performed by Kathy Covarrubias.
Thank you for listening to The Lost Letters. We hope you've enjoyed our presentation. If you enjoyed the show, please review and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you would like to join the conversation, you may do so on Facebook, Instagram, at Patron Saints of Pop Culture, and on our website, www.patronsaintsofpopculture.org. You can also email us at patronsaintsofpopculture@gmail.com. Don't forget, communication is key.